Hey, hello, and welcome back to Come On You Spurs TV podcast. We've been away for a while, but yeah, things happen. We are back now. It's great to be back. With me, I have Chuma, and my name is Soji, as you all know. Come On You Spurs. And we've been getting to the month of October, plenty of fixtures, international break, and Tottenham have, have quite a lot to get done in this new month of October, and we're going to dive into one big quick question. And that question is this, right? Are Spurs finally ready to challenge for honors this season, or should we just be content with, you know, um, ending for top four places and hopefully we get another cup run that we had last year? What do you think? I'd love to hear from you. Chuma's here with me, and yeah, welcome, Chuma.
Hello, 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 hello. Welcome to Common Youth Spurs TV. Happy Nigerian Independence Day to our Nigerian Spurs brothers and sisters. I hope you're enjoying the content as well. A bit of housekeeping. If this is your first time watching or you're back again, thank you for rocking with us. I hope you subscribe. Click on the like button to help us with the algorithm. Comment on whatever it is you think you want to see in Spurs or you've seen with Frank or you're expecting from Frank in the future. Click on the notification bell to get notified whenever we drop a new video or new content. And as always, is come on, you Spurs.
Yeah, thank you so much, Chuma. There's a lot to unpack today. Plenty to unpack. I mean, Frank, early days in charge, haven't well, probably had about 10 matches in total. If you had the Super Cup and
League Cup,
yeah,
Super Cup.
yeah, and then of course the league, so the cup games in or cup game actually, got a game Doncaster. So yeah, it's early days, but and we're coming up to a busy period in the team, and we're going to have players like Richarlison, you know, Palinha, Davi, all of those guys who just come in. Richarlison is getting, depending on who you speak to, either a new lease of life or he's back to his what they call not so good times. But listen, I mean, he's scored 4 goals already this season, so hey, a lot more than he scored in a very short period of time. Fast, I would like to hear from you. Drop your thoughts, drop your comments, comment section below, and yeah, what does success look like for us this? What do you think it's going to look like? I mean, I know you have this a bit of you know a bit of a conservative outlook, if you want to call it that, or cautious outlook. Is that maybe that's right? What I'm looking for.
Well, I see Spurs back in the top six. I'm not there with top four or challenging or anything else. I see top six, and I'll put it this way. I think Spurs have always, with managers, I think we've always teetered between very expansive and pragmatic.
All right. Speaking of
And
sorry to interrupt you. Speaking of managers,
go ahead.
still, still early days. So Thomas Frank still early days, and are we also seeing an identity earlier on in the season? I mean, because if we recall, Ange, by the time we played the 5 or 6 games, everyone knew what we're in for. It was like, yeah, you had that DNA, that identity that you could sort of point to. At times we've seen the high press, with compact defensive shape, and sometimes like he was used to at Brentford, and now are there signs that he's sort of imputing his own DNA into Spurs, attacking with flair or just being cautious? What do you reckon?
Well, I think he's cautious. I think he part of me thinks he still thinks he's at Brentford, and it's only going to take a matter of time for Spurs fans to really turn on this. I think they're already turning. I think the game against Wolves, I think, was a huge point in turning some Spurs fans. They're like, what's going on here? But the thing Spurs fans don't understand, which was my point earlier on, which is we move between these two polar opposites all the time. And I'll give you three for three. Three managers that had the style and flair. Harry Redknapp, Mauricio Pochettino, Ange Postecoglou. I can even throw in a fourth, Martin Yo. Then the pragmatic side, we've had George Graham, old version, Mourinho, Conte, and now I think Thomas Frank is also a pragmatic. I think he's a pragmatic that can play a bit flary football, but deep down inside, his core foundation is being pragmatic. He plays not to lose, and I don't know where I stand with that. Well, that's the impression I'm getting anyway. Is he doesn't want to lose games, which is a great thing. But when you come with the mentality of not trying to lose, you it's a completely different output from someone who is going to win a match. There's a certain dominance and there's certain dominance and display that you do when you're trying to win a game. We've seen that with Pep, we've seen that with Klopp, even seen it with Arteta down the road as well. There's a certain intent. I don't see that with him. I think he's addressing the fact that Spurs were so attacking and so open. He's done that bit where we're now better. We're more compact, as you said. But it's the other bits now that I can't see.
I guess it's probably down to a lot of things. A, his style, his philosophy, and also the push he has to carry out whatever he wants to carry out within the team. Look at the individuals in the squad. Point to the new signings that had this season, and of course a few of the old signings as well, and see where everyone integrates. Mohamed Kudus, what a signing! He can be electric on his day. At times when you feel, maybe you could have done better by releasing the ball a little bit earlier in some instances. But honestly, it's looking like that creative spark that Spurs need that Spurs fans have been craving for a long time. And question is it going to be the new heartbeat for the team? You have Richarlison had maybe 2 poor seasons back to back, but it looks like coming back to his own. Like I said earlier on, he's got about 4 or 5 goals already this season. Even though you have mixed views about him, some people say he's not that great. Some people, I don't want to use the same words they use for him, but another say he's getting back his mojo. He's got a couple of really good goals against Burnley, but again, some people say it's only Burnley, but hey, you can only play against what you got in front of you. So yeah. And then you have people like Palinha, who, Palinha for me is he's always been a good player anyway. In the days at Fulham, he didn't do that great of injuries and all that in Bayern Munich when he went there for the season. But I think we have someone really, really good in that team as part of the squad. Bergvall is coming into his own. 19 years old and already, creating waves already, and you can see that he's going to really, really develop into a fantastic player. We have Sarr. Sarr didn't have a great season last season. But you're beginning to see, he had one of the match performances already this season. Some people have mixed feelings about Bentancur. Is he that great person, or is this being shoehorned into the role he really is not set to, or is not being used the right way? There's so many questions. What do you reckon?
So I'll start with Bentancur, the last person you mentioned. One of the reasons Bentancur failed, or is perceived to have failed in Italy, was because Juventus were playing a 4-3-3 formation. He can't function in that. He's not very good in that. He can play it, but he's not really, really, really good. Where he thrives is where he has a midfield partner that both of them are literally side by side, and alternating. And that's like a 4-2-3-1, or when Conte was playing us, a 3-4-2-1, where you always have 2 people in the middle. Notice during the Conte years, he flourished. Even in games where he's played well this season, it's been the game against, I don't know if it was in the PSG game, but any game where he's played literally alongside Palinha, not ahead, but alongside Palinha, brilliant. Because Bentancur is one of those guys, he's very good at moving the ball quickly. One touch, get out. One touch, move. He can run through and then give it up to someone else, but he can't create. He is a safety first guy, but it works well in a partnership, and especially if the other person in the partnership is probably more progressive as well, it helps him more. So I think fans are looking at him and they think he's very limited. But there's a reason, like you said about Ben Davies as well. There's a reason managers play him. He's very safe in possession. He doesn't lose possession. He's very quick. Like I said, those quick one touch, two touch things he does, they really move the ball forward if he has a progressive midfielder next to him. And then moving further down the line, I think Pape Matesa is coming into his own this season. I think Frank really likes him. I think he reminds Frank of there's a particular midfielder he has at Brentford. I think Yanelt. I'm not mistaken. Yanelt. Similar kind of thing. Energy, lots energy for years, and Frank loves energy. He loves people who run with the ball. So Sarr is now his guy. So I think for me, where the issue arises is the fact that I don't think Bentancur and Palhinha can play together in the midfield. I don't think Sarr and Bergval should play together in the midfield. I think against very small opposition or opposition where you think you're going to be dominant, yes, you can play all these kind of guys. But generally, I think Spurs are better when we play two midfielders as a double pivot. And one of them could be Sarr or Bergval. One of them could be Palhinha or Bentancur, and you need a creative guy. What was the point in buying Xavi if you're going to stick him out in the left? I don't understand the mindset behind that. I think that's part of it that frustrates me is you can tell the guy is itching to create. Let him create. If it doesn't work, switch to something else. And that's where Frank's pragmatism, I think, comes in, where he really doesn't want to lose. So he's doing everything he can to not lose a match. And that could be fitting all these midfielders and then shunting Xavi to the left. Shunting Xavi to the left. I mean, we have a history of this in terms of football. Even as Spurs fan, Glenn Hoddle was this creative number 10 genius, but he was stuck on the wings because no one could work out how to play him as a 10. Here we are in 2025. We have a 10 in Xavi, not one that I recommended, by the way. I'm not a Xavi fan or Xavi in Tottenham fan, but we have a 10. Why don't you play him as a 10? And that's, I think, is where it's going to be the stone that they sort of press Franco on.
Right. So an issue. I won't call it an issue. If you think about it, right? We someone said we should have bought Semenyo or someone like that who's electric on the left wing, right? Okay, we have
Odegaard and Tel.
the Odegaard and Star at the moment, but Star is not really a winger when you think about it, right? Odegaard is more of a winger than him, right? But in terms of I would rather have Javi playing at the 10, as like you said. I'm not sure the wing play suits him or his style. I think it's like trying to shoehorn him by forcing to realize not to the him. So I agree with you. I think Xavi should be more of 10. But the question will come, plays in that role is thriving when the likes of Kulusevski and Madison come back. Obviously, it will be a nice problem for a manager to have. Sort of,
Exactly.
which is good. It then brings us to saying, okay, can we actually manage, the workload that comes from competing in 4 different competitions at this stage? We have, we're having Carabao Cup. We have Monaco. At the end of October, we have Newcastle away. And then we have obviously league matches in between, and then just after the international break, we're facing Villa. So there's quite a lot of matches that come in thick and fast, right? Is our squad big enough to rotate effectively? And we can already see that Mr. Franks is already doing that. I think that's a really good thing from my own perspective, because if you give people a run now when things are not so easy, if you want to call it that, right? It gives them the form, it gives them the minutes, it gives them the fitness levels, and it also builds the confidence for them not to think that, oh, you only need them when maybe you have an injury or almost like second choice. Do you see what I'm saying? So bringing them into the thick of battle now for me is really, really good. I mean, I know they did a bit of rotation against Bodo Glimt in the 2-2 draw we had against them. But the question is, look, I think, are we going to be stretched too thin by the time injuries and fixtures pile up? I don't think so, because I think we have eight injuries out, 8 people out injured at the moment, right?
Yeah, about that, yeah.
And the squad doesn't really feel that stretched, if you think about it, because you still have, quite a lot of people who are still available for him to choose from. What are your thoughts?
So my thoughts on that, say same as yours. I think it's good to rotate. My thing is I would like a base formation and system, and then you have your adaptation or quote unquote plan B. That's what we always call it, plan B. Poch has no plan B, Ange has no plan B. So I would love a plan B. We've seen the plan B in the game against PSG, where my goodness, we had them rattled playing that 5-3-2, however you want to call it, 3-5-2, 5-3-2. But there's no base formation. He keeps adapting, and which is of course what we said about him, that he's a coach that adapts to the opposition. But I as much as I'm a fan of the adaptation, I would like the team to know what they are doing and have set roles, and then knowing this role can change when this happens, as opposed to, okay, this game we're going to go like this. This game, and a lot of people screamed for this. They wanted this, but now the reality of this is hitting them that, yeah, what exactly are we doing? I'm like, no, but you guys wanted an adaptive coach. So this is what happens when you don't play one way. You now start seeing it. I think there is one way that can be turned into different ways, and that's where people like Guardiola, Bielsa, and the rest of them, they're obsessed with those things where they have base formations like 3-4-3 that can switch to 4-3-3, 4-2-3-1, all that. But Frank is, as the game goes, I'm changing this to changing that. And it's helped him secure draws in the last couple of games. But Spurs fans don't want draws. Spurs fans want dominant matches where they dominate the team and they kill them. And that's what's happening now. It always happens this way. It starts off nice. And you want to kill. Everybody wants to kill.
Talking of fans, this is where I want the fans to come in and debate this point. I know it might be a little bit, contentious. People, I think, okay, why are you bringing up this sort of topic at this point in time? Are we even in any way, shape, or form ready to even talk about this now? And that is try to challenge your top four. And I mentioned it there. Here's a big talking point, and I want everyone to jump in on this try to challenge your top four debate, right? So for the title push, let's just look at it for a second and think, okay, fine. Is our depth stronger than we were in recent years? I would say probably, right? And it's actually getting better, right? The fact that we had in takeover, from Levy, with the Levy's families promising, to invest in the squad playing side of him, it remains to be seen what that looks like in reality, right? Kudus looks electric. David's coming into his own. Solanga still to come. Kulusevski still to come. Mada still to come. So that squad is beginning to look, decent, if you want to call it that, right? And some of our rivals are already dropping points. So, but on the other side, if you look at it, I think, okay. Mr. Frank is still building his team. It's early days, so it's really a project, and you can't expect him to come good on day one, But again, the other will argue that, got Mr. What's his name, and a slot, on the other side. And of course, you have the Liverpool fans going crazy. We talked about offline earlier on, But fact is that he won in his first season with more or less the same old squad he inherited from Klopp. So, and the other thing also is that, might have to rely on maybe an additions to the squad in January. We don't know what that's going to look like if we're going to be serious. So, yeah. So, where do we stand? Is this the season that Spurs have been waiting for in terms of challenge, or we still need to be patient? What do you reckon? Guys who are at home listening to this, I want you guys to come in on this debate and let us hear from you. Please don't stone me, okay?
It comes down to this. It's a new manager. So, because the new manager is a transitional period, once again, we're back to this word transition. So, a transition, you can't really be hoping for a championship, because if you talk about Slot and how Slot won his championship last year, he built on the foundations of a team that were a top three team anyway. Spurs were 17th. We've lost 22 matches.
But won a cup.
But so your hope should be in a cup match, in a cup win, not in a league. To turn 22 losses into championship contender, it's a very challenging thing. Also, I look at it this way, that it just depends on how many matches you lose by Christmas. I have this theory, and I think it plays out. If you've lost more than 4 games, or you've lost 4 games by Christmas, is league games, there's every likelihood you will not be challenging for the title. The best teams are keen to keep it down to 4 by Christmas. And so the whole season they could go like losing 9 games max or something like that, 8, 9 games. But if you've lost between 5 and 10 games or 5 and 8 games by Christmas, you're not going to be challenging for the league title. It's going to be very difficult. So Spurs have lost 1 game now. So we're still keeping pace with the big boys, so to speak. Um, at the end of October, we'll review that again. And at the end of November, if Spurs have lost anything up to 4 league games, in my opinion, you just kick that to bed and then just concentrate on getting top 6. That's it.
All right.
So,
Let's
my
look ahead a little bit. Talk about reinforcement that we probably would need, right? So it might feel a little bit early at this point in time, but and January isn't really that far off if you think about it, right? So where do you think we should be strengthening, right? Do you want another striker? Do you want somebody on the left wing? Someone Semenyo. Semenyo just, signed the contract extension. Before he started the contract extension, they were asking for what 65, 70 million. I'd probably be trophic by now, probably by 100 million, considering where good players are. Or should we just let Frank keep remolding the team, with what he's got? What do you reckon?
well, it's obvious Frank wants a left winger because to observe the dynamism of Kudus on the right, imagine if you could replicate that on the left. My God, that would be amazing because you can't stop Spurs on either wing, right? So it's clear he wanted a left winger. It's clear he wanted Savio, who has now signed a new contract with Man City. You could also say that his agent played a blinder by the Spurs links have now gotten his client a new improved deal, and also the fact that he's kind of telling that Pep isn't attracting anything new now as well. But let's leave that. I think the time to have gotten Semenyo was the summer. Spurs will not get him. Spurs will not sniff Semenyo ever. We should have gotten him after the first season under Ange, in my opinion, because you could tell he was a standout. Last summer was the last opportunity a team like Spurs had to get Semenyo. Spurs will never see Semenyo. Semenyo is going to anyone else but not Spurs. I heard he's an Arsenal fan as well. So if we draw parallels with the Eze thing,
But is it saga, or is it like
exactly. Yeah, we don't need that. That was on the public relations front. It was a bit of an embarrassment for Spurs. So just wipe out Semenyo. But yes, we did a left winger, and I think this is the part where I don't know how truthful Thomas Frank was with us with Dominic Solanke's injury. There was a need to buy a striker. I love the story of redemption and Richarlison coming to meet him and telling him I want to stay and all that stuff. But we knew Spurs needed a striker. Spurs looked at that young man who is now at I think he's at either Bournemouth or Brentford, Calimundo. I don't think he was the answer, but at least Spurs would have gotten another striker. It's quite clear we're lightweight on that. My alternative view on that is it possible for Brennan Johnson to be played up front?
hmm,
Not as a striker that can hold the ball, but if Richarlison is that kind of way, what's stopping? Because I mean, if you saw the breakaway goal that he scored, you looked at it and that was Sonny reborn, kind of like just put the ball in front of him, he races onto it, he picks his spot. Brennan Johnson is excellent. So maybe at some point Brennan Johnson moves into a forward position because as a winger, I think he's not as effective for me. He still scores goals. I think he's still essential to the squad, but he doesn't strike fear into fullbacks. He just scores good goals, and you need goals to win matches. So why don't you try and find a way to make him a forward? That's my opinion. But I think that Spurs definitely need a striker. We definitely need and there's another thing, there's another case brewing. Is Jed Spence better at left back than right back? Because for me, I've seen his best performances have been on the left. Whenever he's played on the right, it's not really filled me with that much,
optimism?
enthusiasm. Yeah, optimism as well. That's the word, optimism. But when he's on the left, I think he has a. The only time they've criticized him is when he played with Xavi, because Xavi is not a left winger as well. Xavi was coming central, and Spence comes central because he's right-footed. So he needed somebody who would stay out wide
Okay.
as a left winger.
Now,
So it's a good conundrum for Frank to sort out.
It is. And so there we have it. I mean, Spurs heading into October, okay, in decent form, few questions here and there against we had against Brighton, against Wolves, and then against for the being 3 draws on the trot, if you like. But at the same time, we see that look, there's still questions we can ask ourselves. Are we really genuinely tied to contenders? I don't. Well, who knows? I'll leave it to you guys to come back to me. Or are we just top 4 hopefuls? Even that, are we sure? Are we sure about that? I want your take. Right? Drop a comment. Share your thoughts, and don't forget to like us and and subscribe if you're not already subscribed to the channel. For us, Chuma and I, a big thank you. Thank you for joining us, and thank you for being with us all the way. Thank you. Chuma,
Thank
any
you.
final words?
Well, it's just Spurs to win over the weekend. Hopefully, truthfully, I wish Thomas Frank all the best. I hope he works out the attacking side as well as he's worked out the defensive side. But as always, come on, you Spurs, regardless.
Come on, you Spurs.